Okay, and then let's grab the link for the live stream over on YouTube. Let's do that. So let's go over to YouTube. This is going to be my channel over here. And the YouTube live link is going to be over here. Let's grab that, copy the link, and here you go, everybody in chat. So the good thing about the YouTube live link is that you can always go back there when you need to go back and see anything that you might have missed. Anyways, let's go ahead and start the lesson. All right, what are we doing today? So this is Hacker Frog's After School Network Hacking session number 8. So there's only a couple more sessions to go after this, but what are we going to be learning about today? Let's talk about it. So welcome to Hacker Frog's After School. This is the 8th session for network hacking. Let's go over the concepts we covered in the previous session. So in the previous session, we talked about Zilzuzi, hello, nice to see you here. And Leo, hello. Hello, Hacker Frogs, nice to see you here on YouTube. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so we're just starting our lesson. In the last session, we talked about file transfers. So file transfers are an essential operation of computer networking, and we learned a few different methods for file transfer. We talked about the touchless style of file transfer using the clipboard and the base64 command. So this was a very sneaky way of moving files around that doesn't involve any network traffic. We also talked about the very convenient method of moving files around, which is creating a HTTP server on your attacker machine using the Python module and the wget module. So this one is very easy to pull off if there is Python in, if there's Python on your attacker machine. That's pretty much always the case. And then we talked about how to move files around using secure copy or SSH. So this is the most secure way to move your files around, but unfortunately it requires SSH to be installed on both of the devices that you want to transfer the files from, and the one that we're going to go over. Prince X says, asks on YouTube, how long are you streaming today? So we'll probably be streaming for about 5 or 6 hours today. So yeah, that's the schedule. All right, so we talked about file transfers last time. What are we doing today? So in this session, we're going to be covering the following topics. We're going to be talking about file upload attacks. So these are a type of attack that you can do on web applications, so websites, where you're able to upload a file and then execute any code you want to inside of those files that you upload. We're going to be uploading via the web page, and we're going to be talking about how to upload to a web page that has filters in place. So most of the time when you encounter a file upload page or a function, you can only upload certain types of files. And we're going to talk about one way that we can potentially work around that particular filter. Okay, NickCCS asks, is LFI included in this too? So local file inclusion is not going to be covered in today's topic, but local file inclusion is kind of related, but it's a different web app vulnerability. But thank you very much, and thank you very much for coming by, NickCCS. Yeah, glad to have you here. Okay, so what are file upload attacks? So file upload attacks are a type of web app hack where malicious files can be uploaded to a web server and then executed on the web application, executing the code within those uploaded malicious files. So in order to perform a file upload attack, there are 3 conditions that must be met. So the first condition is there must be a way to upload files to a web accessible location. That could be via the web application or another service. So that could be File Transfer Protocol or SMB. So the second requirement is the upload location must be known to us. So even if we're able to upload some file to a web application, and even if those files have malicious code in them, if we can't access the location of those files, then it's kind of useless for us. And the third requirement for doing a file upload attack is that the application must be able to execute code via some sort of scripting language. So the most famous example is PHP, but other scripting languages that work on the on websites such as ASP might be available as well. Okay, so we're going to be accessing Try Hack Me to do today's lesson, and this one's going to be one of the Try Hack Me Christmas events. So let me go ahead and grab that link. So this is the link, and if you would just go over here after you log into Try Hack Me, then you can access the room. Okay, so if you don't have an account at Try Hack Me, you can make a free account over there. I'll just leave the link for Try Hack Me in the chat in case you need to make an account and you want to follow along with us. Okay, so what you want to do now is you want to log into Try Hack Me, and then after you're logged in, go over to the link that I just put in chat there, and it'll bring you to this room right here. It's called 25 Days of Cybersecurity. So this is one of Try Hack Me's Christmas event rooms, and the great thing about these is that they introduce a lot of concepts over 25 days, basically. It's an Advent event. Okay, so let's go ahead and start the room. So if you haven't already, oh, hold on, I think I need to log into the application first. So this isn't the account I want to use. I'm just going to log out and log in with another account. So as usual, if you're following along and you find yourself stuck somewhere and you want us to help you out, let us know in the chat and we'll try to get you unstuck as best as we can. Okay, so we're not robots. Let's log in. Okay, and this is the 25 days of cyber event. HXU asks, hey, what are we doing today? So we're doing file upload attacks. So let's see, learn cyber in 25 days. So if you want to join in yourself, then you can go ahead and go over to this link. So I'll just leave the link in chat for everybody one more time. Okay. And let me simulate what it looks like if we've never been here before. All right, so 25 days of cybersecurity. Great. Okay, so if you've never been to this room before, after you've logged in, go to the room, you're going to see this green Join Room button. So if you don't see it, that means that you've probably joined the room already. Go ahead and click on the button over there, and Oracle Writer on Twitch says, hey, how's it going? We're just doing our file upload attack lesson over on Twitch and YouTube. But welcome to the stream, Oracle Writer. Thank you. Thank you for coming by. Okay, so the task that we're going to be covering today is actually in task number 4. So what you want to do after you've joined the room is you want to click on the task number 4 header over here, and you want to click on Start Machine under task number 4. So task number 4, it's labeled day 2, and you want to click on the green Start Machine button over here. After you do that, you also want to go up to the top of the screen, up to the top of the web page, and underneath the little icon with the cloud with the Santa hat, there's going to be this button over here that's labeled Start Attack Box. So the attack box is the machine that we're going to be using to attack the web application. So you want to go ahead and click on the Start Attack Box button. And then after that, you're going to see the web page split into two panes. So there's going to be the web page on the left-hand side and the attack box on the right-hand side. So if you've got your two machines starting up over here, you should see this red target machine information header near the top of the web page, and you're going to see that your machine is initializing with the loading bar over here on the right-hand side of the screen. If it's all going on there, please type in the chat, the machines are starting up, smiley face, just so that we know that everybody's following along and at the same place. Thank you very much. Okay, so it should take about a minute more for this to all go on. I'll just talk about what we're doing today. So once again, we're going to be talking about file upload attacks today. So this is kind of a classic web app attack when you do basic network hacking exercises over here. And let's see. Okay, so yeah, file upload attacks are a type of web app hack where malicious files can be uploaded to a web server and then and then accessed on the web application, executing the code within the uploaded malicious files. So HXU asks, oh, Prince says it's starting up. Okay, great. HXU also is following along. That's great. And those IP addresses are only for us? Yeah, you should. So the IP addresses are going to be different for each person. So my IP address over here for the machine that we started up, it's not going to be the same as yours. So please use your IP address whenever we're working with the machines over here. Okay. So I see that the attack box has finished initializing over here. You know that it's finished initializing because you see this this message over here inside the terminal. So what you want to do is you want to click into the terminal over here, and then you want to hit enter to dismiss this message. Okay, and then after that, you also want to put the attack box in the full size view. Actually, you know what? Before that, what we're going to do is we're just going to open up the terminal and we're going to record our IP address. Because we've got the IP address over here, we need to use this in a couple of places. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up our terminal, and you can open up the terminal by clicking on this little button over here that says terminal. And what we want to do is we just want to type in the IP address. So just type in your IP address over here inside your terminal. So I'm going to go 1010. Okay, so this is going to be different on your device probably, so please use the one that you have. NixieCS says, how can these vulnerabilities be prevented? Could allowing only safe file types be one of the measures to prevent this kind of attack? Yeah, so the problem with the web applications that we're going to be attacking today is that they haven't been coded correctly, and so they allow malicious types of files to be uploaded. Okay, so we've got our IP address up here. We also want to start up the web browser inside of the attack box. So the attack box is a legitimate computer, and we can just click on this button up here to start up the attack box's web browser. This is going to be different from our own web browser, but the shortcut icon is at the top of the screen. It's this little orange icon. Go ahead and click on that. And then after a few moments, the web browser should load up. It's a little bit slow at first, but it is what it is. Okay. So inside of the Firefox browser over here, you want to click into the address bar, and then you want to type in the IP address. So 10.10.17.221. So after that, I think you can just hit enter, and it should send you to this web page over here. Okay, so we'll talk about this more in a little bit, but for now you can minimize your web browser. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go over to the center of the screen, and then at the bottom there's going to be this button over here labeled View in Full Screen. This is going to put the attack box desktop in another web browser tab. This is what we want. So in the middle, at the bottom, click on this button labeled View in Full Screen. After that, you're going to see that the attack box desktop is in full screen. So this is what we want because we want to see everything nice and big. Okay, so here, the terminal, we're going to make this bigger. So we can go over to View inside the terminal. We can click on Zoom in, and we can also use the keyboard shortcut Control-Shift+ to make the terminal bigger so that we can read the text better. Okay, so that's great. And all right, so okay, what we're going to do is we're going to treat this like we're doing a pen testing exercise. So basically, we're going to test the security of the remote server over here. So Glory Buggy says, TryAcme only gives 1 hour access to the attack box if you're a free user. Yeah, that's true, but we're going to try to complete the exercise within that 60 minutes so that we don't have to worry about that. So what are we going to do first? So we learned before that we can run an nmap scan to scan the open ports on this particular machine. So the machine is at this IP address, and we can give this nmap command to scan the machine and figure out which ports are open. So let's see, that's going to be VV, that's going to be SCV and T5. Okay, so this is the command over here. I will copy it over to people in the chat so that you can take a look and model this if you're having troubles. Okay. So let's go over and talk about what we're doing now. So what we're doing right now is we're doing port scanning with nmap. So we learned in a previous lesson that we can use the nmap command to scan a remote server, which is basically a computer that's not our own computer. And we're going to conduct the nmap scan to determine which ports on the machine are open. What is the meaning of those flags? Okay, so let's talk about, let's break down the nmap command. So nmap is the name of the command. -VV is going to give us very verbose output. And very verbose output means that it's going to give us results of the scan before the scan is finished. And this over here, S capital V capital C, this is going to give us versioning information for whatever services we find and run common scripts on those services. So T5 over here, this is going to run the scan very, very fast. Nixie says, if THM's cloud machine is too slow for you, can download a virtual machine on your own computer and install an operating system like Kali Linux or Parrot inside it to make sure your pen tests run more smoothly. Yeah, well, unfortunately, if you're accessing the machines through what is it, OpenVPN, the connection can be very slow. The advantage of using the attack box is that the attack box and the machines that we're spinning up, they're on the same network. So the scans are actually going to go by very much quicker. Glory Buggy says they have OpenVPN files that you can use to connect to their server to use your own terminal like Kali Linux. Yes, you can. We're not going to go over that in today's lesson because we're kind of strapped for time, and we're just going to run the commands with the attack box. But if you need to, this is what you do. You go over to the TryHackMe page. You go over to your account. When you click on the account, you can click on the access button over here, and that'll lead to the download links. You need to download those OpenVPN keys. Okay, so we're going to run the command over here for nmap. And when we run the command, it's going to give us this output over here. And it says it discovered an open port on port 80 inside the output. So we scan the most common ports on the system, and it gives us a little report on which ports are open. So port 80 is open, and port 80 is running HTTP. HTTP is unencrypted web pages, and unencrypted web so regular HTTP is still on the internet right now, but most people are moving over to HTTPS instead of HTTP because HTTP is unencrypted, which means that people can see your information if they decide to capture the network traffic. But anyways, the next thing we're going to do after we discovered that there's an HTTP server is we can do some directory busting. So directory busting is basically trying to find out what directories and files exist on a web server. And we can do directory busting with this little command over here. It's called dirb. So we type in dirb. Actually, we're going to get the previous command. You can go up and down in your terminal to retrieve the previous commands. Because we need to use the IP address from the previous command, we're just going to edit this nmap command over here. So we're just going to go over to the beginning of the command. We're going to get rid of all the previous information. We're going to type in dirb, and then we're going to put in http// and then our IP address. So it's just going to look like this. You just need to put the http:// in front of your IP address here with dirb in front of that. So the command looks like this. Of course, you're going to need to sub in your own IP address and not use the one that I'm using. So here you go. And here you go. Let's see. Amir says, hey bro, have a great stream. Thank you very much, Amir. Thank you very much. Let's see. Sigma says, programming, that link over there has a bunch of exercises. It's more of a complete course. Okay. And what else? Arise Heart says, OpenVPN is way faster than an attack box for me. There are, I mean, use whatever works best for you, of course. And Glorybuggy says, how can I connect after downloading the OpenVPN file to my Kali to use it or turn on? So normally you would use kind of a command like this. So you'd run sudo openvpn and then the name of the VPN key. For example, I've got this one over here. You would just point OpenVPN to where your VPN key file is, and then after you run it, you should be connected to the network. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this command over here, and let's talk about what the command does first. So we did port scanning with nmap, and then the next thing we're doing is directory busting using the dirb command. Amari says, good evening. Hello, Amari, nice to see you here. We're just doing a little lesson on file upload attacks right now. So directory busting using dirb, since we've discovered the HTTP service on the remote server, we can attempt a directory busting attack on the server using the dirb program. So what this is going to do is it's going to tell us what directories or files are available on the server. So let's go back and run the command. So when we run the command, it's going to tell us which directories exist on the web server. And specifically, we need to keep track of one particular directory that's open over here. So it says here that there's an assets directory, there's a CGI bin directory, there's this icon over here, there's a node index directory, but what we really care about here is that there's an uploads directory, because one of the requirements that we need to do our file upload attack is we need to figure out where the files are uploaded to. And we can guess that this is the directory that files are going to be uploaded to because the directory is called uploads. What day is this in the admin room? You want to click on task number 4. So task number 4, Sigma. Thank you very much. Okay, so let me just type that in for you, task 4. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and go back to the web application over here. So if we actually go, if we actually go to the Firefox browser, and remember we started up the Firefox browser a little bit earlier, we're going to see this web page over here. So the web page says, you are not signed in. Please enter your ID as a get parameter, as in ID your ID here. So this particular exercise is going to require us to put in a very specific ID parameter. That's fine. Let's talk about it over here in the Try Hack Me page. Over here. So in the Try Hack Me page, they start talking about URL parameters. We don't really need to know too much about URL parameters for today's task, but we do need to use a URL parameter to log in to the application. Okay, so down near the bottom of the task before the questions, it says for Elf McEager, you've been assigned an ID number for the audit of the system, this over here. So what we need to do is we need to give this as our URL parameter when we access the page. So let me just copy this, and let me copy what you need to add to the end of the address bar. So this is it over here. So this is part of the information inside the Try Hack Me page. So we're going to go back to the web browser, and in the web browser, we're going to click on the address bar here, and we're going to add the thing. Oh, it didn't copy over. It didn't copy over. That's fine. Let me go ahead and grab this. Okay, I need to go over to the, what you need to do is you need to go over to the clipboard inside of the attack box. So in the attack box, there's this little button over here that's that opens up the control bar. And in the control bar, you need to go to the clipboard, you need to delete what's already there and paste in the other thing. Okay, let me grab that command again. Okay, so this part right here, we're just going to close the clipboard now, and then we're going to add this part to the end of the URL. And after we've done that, we can hit enter. And then we should be able to see this part of the web page. So this part of the web page is what is going to let us upload the file. So we're going to do a malicious file upload attack. We see here there's this little box. It says protect the factory. If you see any suspicious people near the factory, take a picture and upload it here. So this is what we use to upload our malicious file. And the first thing we need to do is we need to create the malicious file first. So I'm going to teach you how to do that. Okay, let's go ahead and minimize the web browser for a little bit. Glory Buggy says, I'm learning A+. After I will go to Network Plus, then CS50. To know and understand what I'm doing, do you think it's a solid roadmap for hacking? It's going to be a solid roadmap for learning about technology in general, but after you've done that, you should be able to understand a lot more about what's going on with the computer network. Okay, so one thing that we're doing as well when we're doing these sessions is we have a GitHub page over here that talks about how to do all the tasks that we're doing today. So I'll just leave the link in the chat. And on this page over here, it talks about all the steps you need to do to complete everything we're doing today. So we're currently on, let's see, part 3. So part 3, what we're trying to do is we're attempting to upload an undisguised web shell file. Maggie Magitech says, you're a generous person to do this and share. Thank you. Thank you very much, Magitech. And thank you very much for coming by. And well, you're welcome to stay as long as you like. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to use the nano text editor inside of our terminal to create a malicious file. We're going to call the file webshell.php. So we're just going to go over to the terminal here. And in the terminal, we're going to create a file called webshell.php. So webshell is one of the types of malicious files that we can upload. And we'll talk more about what the web shell does in a little bit. So after you type in nano space webshell.php, hit enter, and that's going to start up the nano text editor. What we want to paste into the web shell, so the code, we're going to get that from the GitHub page over here. So if you didn't get the GitHub page last time, this is the link. And this is part 3, and it's step 2. Over here it says copy the following code and paste it into the text editor. So this code over here, we can copy it by clicking on this button over here. It looks like 2 squares on top of each other. Just click on that and then go over to the attack box. In the attack box, we have to paste this into our clipboard. So we're just going to go over to the left-hand side. In the middle, we're going to go to the clipboard. We're going to get rid of what's already there, and then we're going to paste in the code that we just copied. Okay, from there, we can close the clipboard and then click into the terminal. In the terminal, we're going to paste in the code. So we've got a bunch of PHP code here. So the reason why we're pasting in PHP code for this web shell file is because this web server uses PHP. And well, the reason we know why the web page uses PHP and we can use PHP to attack the web page is we can do this. We can go over to the Firefox browser, and in here, just after the slash over here in the address, we can type in index.php. So if this doesn't give us an error, we know that it's using a PHP page as the index page, otherwise known as the landing page. So we see here that when we put in index.php in the web browser, it didn't give us an error. So we know that this web page is using PHP, and PHP is one of the languages that is vulnerable to file upload attacks. Okay, and that's why we're creating a webshell.php file right now. So let's go back. So there's this PHP code here, and what the PHP code does is it makes it so we can run a URL parameter. And the URL parameter is going to be called CMD for command. And what we can do with the command parameter here is that we can run OS commands through the web shell. So web shells are basically little bits of code that you upload to a vulnerable website, and you can use that page to run any commands that you want through the web shell page. So it's kind of a devious thing that we're doing over here, and this is the code that sets this up. So after you've completed this, after you've pasted in the code, you can save the file. Amari says, cyber attacks grow at like 600% where there are PHP codes. PHP is it's kind of known as a vulnerable language, but it's also very convenient. So that's why lots of people create web applications using PHP. Anyways, let's go ahead and save this file. So in the text editor, use the Control X keyboard shortcut. So Control and then X. It's going to ask you if you want to save the modified buffer. The answer is Y for yes, and then hit Enter to confirm the file name. So afterwards, if you do ls to take a look at what's inside this directory, you should see that the webshell.php file should be in here. And this is what we're going to try to upload. So we're going to try to upload it over at the Firefox. Okay, over at the Firefox browser. You know what? Just to make sure that everybody's on the same page, let me ask everybody in the chat, if you managed to create the webshell.php file and you see output like this, let us know in the chat by typing in the web shell is ready, smiley face. And if you got stuck on any particular step, let us know and we'll try to help you out. I just want to make sure that the people who are following along are following along okay. Okay, so Sigma says that the web shell is ready. Great. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to upload this malicious web shell. Okay, so let's go over to our Firefox browser over here. It says protect the factory. If you see any suspicious people near the factory, take a picture and upload it here. So where's the malicious PHP code? Where do you browse it? Oh, okay. We'll talk about it. Actually, we know where it went, because when we did our derb scan, let's see. When we did our derb scan, we found that there was an upload directory. So it found the uploads directory over here. So we're kind of guessing that it's going to be uploaded to this directory after it gets uploaded. Okay, so in the Firefox browser, we can select a file to upload, and this is going to be in the root directory. So you can go over to other locations and then click on computer and then click on root, because that's the directory where the file is saved. So double click root, and then you can select all supported types, all files. That's going to let you select the webshell.php page. So after you select it, click on open, and then click on submit. After you click on submit, it says invalid extension. So the reason, can anybody tell me why it says invalid extension when you try to upload the webshell.php file? So the reason why we're not able to upload our PHP file is because it's looking for a picture to be uploaded. Yeah, the file extension. So this is not the case on all web pages where you can upload, but if you take a look at the source, at the HTTP source for this page, so right click and then select view page source, you're going to see at the bottom of the page source that it's going to say type file, ID file, choose file except .jpeg, .jpg, .png. So these are the file extensions that it accepts. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to fool the web application by naming the web shell a different name. So Amari asks, you have more information about the directory upload. Yeah, so we one more time we found using the dirb program. Okay, I think I accidentally closed my my attack box. Okay, let me load that back up. Okay, here we are. So let me go ahead and so remember everybody that the attack box has a web browser tab and the Firefox inside of the attack box has a web browser tab. So that's kind of confusing. But yeah, so what we need to do is we need to rename this file because it only accepts files with certain file extensions. So we're going to minimize the Firefox browser. We're going to go over to our terminal and we're going to rename the file. So the file is webshell.php. We can use the following command to rename the file, and we're going to give it a different name. So mv for move. This is how we rename files inside of Linux. So it's going to be webshell.php. We're going to change it over to webshell.jpg.php. So the program might only be looking for this part of the file name to make sure that it's actually uploading a picture file. So when we do this command, and I'll copy this command over to everybody else who wants to take a look at it. So after we run the command, we see that we've renamed webshell.php to webshell.jpeg.php. So this might be enough to fool the web application into accepting this file. So we can test this by going over to the web application. So we're just going to go over to the Firefox browser. We're going to select, and we've got an ad running on Twitch right now. So when ads run on Twitch, we also run them on YouTube. And we're just going to take a little break while the ads are running on Twitch and on YouTube. And in the meantime, we're going to watch some birds. I love my birds. I love my backyard birds. And this is one of my favorite birds that comes to the backyard. Okay, so we're just going to take a little break for about a minute or so, and then we'll be back after the ads are finished in a minute. If you need to get up and stretch or have a drink of water, now is the time to do so. We'll be back in about 50 seconds. Okay, yeah. So this is security footage from my backyard. I set up a little security camera to keep track of the birds over here because I love watching the birds and watching them eating and flying around. Every once in a while, we see some rare birds, but most of the time, it's the same birds that come around. Let's go ahead and put the birds away and get back to the hacking. Okay, so we're trying to upload the file, and we changed the name of the file. We're going to go over to other locations. We need to go to computer, and we need to go over to the root directory because that's where the file was saved to. So in the root directory, we're going to select, let's see, all supported types or all files. We're going to select all files, and after we select all files, we're going to see this page over here. Sorry, this file over here. It's called webshell.jpeg.php. So the reason why we need PHP at the end is that if we don't have PHP at the end, then we can't run the code inside of the file. So go ahead and click on webshell.jpeg.php, click on open, and then click on the submit button over here. So after we do that, it says file received successfully. So that means that the file was uploaded, and we know that there is a upload directory on this particular web application. Xmetric says that was fast. That was fast. Theo is rating with 15 viewers. Thank you very much. Fast as ice. Fast as ice. Okay, so we know that there's an upload directory on the web application because we found it using the derb tool. Welcome in, Raiders. We're just doing a little lesson where we're teaching everybody how to do file upload attacks. My name is the Shy Hat. I teach cybersecurity here on Twitch and on YouTube. And we just successfully uploaded this file over here. It's called webshell.jpeg.php. So we managed to successfully bypass the filter on the web application on the upload function for the application. So what we can do is we can just click on this file over here to access it. So we click on the file and we see that it's blank. That's fun. Good THM room. Fixit42. Hello, Fixit42. Nice to see you here. And yeah, so the reason why this web shell is blank when we go over to the file here, webshell.jpeg.php, is because inside of the code, it designated that we need to use a certain URL parameter to use the web shell. So what we're going to do is on the end of the URL, we're going to put $CMD equals who am I. So what this is going to do is it's going to run the who am I command through the parameter over here, and we get something back. And apparently we're running as the Apache user on the web server. So if you want to see what the path is, this is the path that we would use inside the web browser. Okay, so Theo's lurking to go grab some food. Yeah, go and feed yourself, Theo. Thank you very much, and welcome in, Raiders, one more time. Okay, so we managed to use this the URL parameter to start running some commands. So this is what a web shell does. It lets people run commands on the underlying web server by using the web application. So we can actually replace the who am I command with any command we want. We could run pwd to see which directory we're in. So this is the directory we're in. We can replace the command with ls to see what's inside this directory. So there is webshell.jpeg.php in this directory. And let's talk a little bit about what we've done so far. Okay, so the file upload condition. The application lets us upload files, and a lot of applications only let you upload files of a certain type. In this case, it's looking for picture files. So file upload attacks will not work unless the web application executes code in files. So PHP is a classic example, and web applications that host PHP files are a good indication that an app is vulnerable. Well, is vulnerable, not necessarily, but it is one of the conditions that we need to fulfill to do the file upload attack. So over here, we need to make sure that the web application can run some sort of scripting code. And we took a look at the web shell. So we used the web shell, and we created a file with these contents inside the web shell. In file upload attacks, there are generally two types of files. There are two types of file contents that are used. So those are going to be either web shells or reverse shells. So web shells let you run commands through using the web page, and the reverse shell is going to give you a reverse shell connection from the web server to your attacking machine. So in our case, we decided to use a web shell. So in this case, we'll use a web shell, which is a file that allows us to run OS commands when accessing the web page. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to the web application over here. And so we can basically run any commands we want, any Linux commands we want through the web shell by using command equals whatever command we want. So command equals ls, command equals who am I. And what we're going to do is we're going to get some information to solve this the room over here. So inside of the TryHackMe webpage, if you go down to the bottom of task number 4, we've got some questions. So answer the questions below. What string of text needs to be added to the URL to get access to the upload page? So the upload page, we need to add a certain something something. I think I left it in the chat just a little while ago. Let me copy that one more time. So this is the answer for the first question. This is the answer for the first question, so you can provide that as the answer. So just paste that in and then click on submit. And your answer is correct. So the second question is, what type of file is accepted by the site? What type of file is accepted by the site? So there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 letters over here. What's another word that means picture files? I think it should be the word image. So we can click and yeah, so that's going to be the answer for that one. So for anybody who's joining in right now, we're currently doing this room over here on TryHackMe, and we're doing task number 4 inside the room. It talks about file upload attacks. Okay, so the next question over here is bypass the filter and upload a reverse shell. So we didn't upload a reverse shell, we uploaded a web shell. And the question here asks, which directory are the upload files stored? So that's going to be the uploads directory. So let's see, /uploads/ submit that as the answer for the next question. Done. Okay, so activate the reverse shell and catch it in the netcat listener. We're just going to pretend that we did that, so we're just going to click on complete. Level of this exercise. Level of this exercise, well, I mean, we're trying to teach beginner level skills over here on Hacker Frogs. And the last question over here is, what is the flag in /var/www/flag.txt? So we can find out by using the web shell. And we're just going to, well, var www flag.txt. Okay, let's go ahead and copy this file path. So it's going to look a lot like this. So this is the command we want to run. So we can go over to, we can actually go over to this web browser right here. So instead of command equals ls, we're going to do command equals cat space /var/www/flag.txt. Okay, and you know what? I can't see this very well, so I'm just going to go over to the full view over here. And what does it say? It says, have a flag, you deserve it. And if anybody's wondering what path we're using for the web shell, this is the path right over here. Of course, what you need to do is you need to sub in your own IP address for the IP address in the command, or sorry, in the URL there. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Okay, so it says have a flag, you deserve it. We got a flag over here. What we need to do is we just need to copy it. So highlight it all, copy it, then go over to the TryHackMe page and provide this as the answer. Click on submit, and then you're done. Okay, so if you have any questions about any of the stuff that we did in this class, please let us know in the chat. And if you have any comments, if you have any questions, let us know, because, well, we want to answer as many questions as we can. We don't want anybody to feel like they're lost. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and talk about a summary. So let's review the network hacking concepts we learned in this workshop. So what are file upload attacks? File upload attacks are a type of web app hack where malicious files can be uploaded to a web server and then accessed on the web app, executing the code within those uploaded malicious files. So there are 3 conditions we need to fulfill to do a file upload attack, and the first one is we need to be able to upload files. So naturally, to perform a file upload attack, we need to have the ability to upload files to a web accessible directory. Sigma says this was fun, real hacker vibes. Yeah, I mean, this used to be very common on the internet maybe 20 years ago, but these days it's kind of hard to find an application that's actually vulnerable to this kind of simple file upload attack. Not saying that it's not out there, and I'm not saying that you should go out and look for these things, because Yeah, file upload attacks. Well, they'll get you in trouble if you're doing it on some random person's website. Okay, so the second condition is the code execution condition. So file upload attacks will not work unless the web app executes code and files. So PHP is a classic example, and web apps that host PHP files are a good indicator that the app is vulnerable to this kind of attack. And the last one is the known upload location condition. The last condition of the file upload attack is the ability to access the malicious file you upload to the application. So even if we're able to upload malicious code to the application, if we can't find that file inside of the website, then it's kind of useless because we can't actually execute the code. Yones says, with vibe coding, I'm sure that that's the point. You're not supposed to vibe code because vibe coding creates insecure code. But yeah, thank you very much for pointing that out. Okay, so what's next? So there are only a couple of lessons left for the network hacking course that we're doing over here. But in the next Hacker Frogs After School workshop, we're going to be learning how to escalate privileges on Linux servers. So when we hack against Linux systems, when we get access to them, what we want to do is we want to go from a regular user to a super user. And we can become the super user by doing something called privilege escalation. So we're going to be learning that in the next Hacker Frogs After School workshop. And the next Hacker Frogs After School workshop is going to be on Monday. Today's Friday, TGIF everybody. And we're going to be doing the last two workshops on Monday of next week and Wednesday of next week. So please stay tuned for that. So we're just going to be ending this portion of the stream, and in the next portion of the stream, what are we going to be doing? So for anybody who's wondering, we've got a Reddit for Hacker Frogs, and the Hacker Frogs Reddit has the schedule that we do for our live streams. So today is Friday. We just did Hacker Frogs After School Network Hacking number 8, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to be doing some coding for hacking. We're going to be solving some CTF labs using our awesome Python skills, and that's going to be happening for the next hour or so. So please look forward to that. All right, so for everybody on Twitch and on YouTube, we're going to be taking a short break while I finish off the class on Zoom. I've got some Zoom students, and I just need to finish off the class with them, and then we'll be back and doing the next part of the stream. So for everybody on YouTube and Twitch, we're going to be going to a Be Right Back screen for a couple of minutes, and we're going to be playing a little bit of music. So please enjoy the music, and that's loud. Enjoy the Be Right Back screen. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.